because I was going to talk about other disparities on the topic of opportunity, because United Way is reporting that in the Quad Cities, the average African American family will make $37,000, and the average white family will make $57,000. That is a huge difference, especially when it comes to the cost of living.
It really is.
Why is that?
Well, part of the problem is because, now think about this just for a minute. As kids go on and they go through high school, a lot of the kids may not go on to a 4-year university. And so we don't see any further education oftentimes besides high school. So we really do need to take a look at that. And I remember in the legislature, one of the things that's happening is that, and I don't know if you're aware of this, but we talked with the 3 regions, and they talked about that in somewhere around the 10-year mark, we're going to see white students be not attending colleges because there's not enough people here to go. So they're looking at minorities attending the universities, more minorities attending universities, okay? And so while I think that's great, to be perfectly honest with you, we should have been doing that all along. And so I agree that we need to engage more people of color and going on to a 4-year university. And I know the community colleges are doing a great job. I know they are really active in making sure that they are getting into the 2-year programs. Also, we see apprenticeships. And so there's lots of things out there that we really need to engage people of color in. And it's been kind of a quiet misnomer why they haven't done it. Well, I can't necessarily point to the exact reason why they're not doing it. I think what's happening is that we're saying, wait a minute, if we don't start engaging more people of color in all these 2 years, 4 years apprenticeships, that we're going to see a downfall of jobs. And so we're going to have to really do a lot better job.
Let's talk about, the elephant in the room, which is racism.
Right.
It's something that is uncomfortable for me to even talk to you about because I always think of similarities, not differences.
Right.
But I really would like to hear your thoughts on our local community, and is racism prevalent and discrimination prevalent?
It is. But you know what? It is so ingrained. I don't know if people even realize they're doing it. And so how do you start that conversation? Really, how do you start it? And so I'm going to give you an example, okay? And then maybe you'll see what I'm talking about. So, I'm not going to say anybody's name, but I was at the movie theater one day, and this is like last year. And my daughter and I were waiting in line like you do to go get popcorn. And I was behind a lady, and it wasn't really all that busy where I was at, but a young man had come around the corner and stood beside the other lady and began talking to the lady that was serving us. When she got done serving that lady, she helped the man that had come around the corner. So I thought, now, what am I going to do? Because I could really get mad, or I could help teach a lesson to the young lady. So she served the young man, and I talked to the young lady, and I said, I want to talk to you just a minute. And I said, I was behind the lady that you were serving, and when that young man came, you served him instead. Well, I said, no, I'm just telling you this. I'm not angry with you, but you need to understand that you need to be observant. And for whatever reason, you didn't serve me after the lady was there. And she tried to tell me she didn't see me. I said, no, that's not true. You saw me. You just chose to make the choice that you made. So I said, I'm not mad at you. I think what you need to do is just be observant. And I said, and that's all I want to tell you. So then she helped me, and that was it. But I guess my point is that we've got to teach people, we've got to help people. And I think we've got to speak in a manner that they understand. She understood exactly what I meant when I got done. And so I think those are the types of conversations that we have to have. If we don't have them, then it's going to keep happening over and over and over again. This is a 365-day, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day problem. And we have got to start making some inroads. So even as African Americans, we have got to start plainly and talk about the things that are happening out there and making sure that they stop. And I think that's the best way to do it.
That's a great example. And I'm sorry that you felt invisible in that circumstance. So is there any other advice for the community and for Caucasians in the community on what we can do to improve or open our eyes or solve some of these problems that I cited, these disparities, to provide more opportunities and more equity?
Right. Okay, so one of the things that's the most difficult thing is that, we're all trying to get to a better place. Everybody's trying to do that, everybody. And so that creates a bit of competition. That's number two of this. But number three, something that we can do is that if the process is always fair, then we shouldn't have to worry about why I got that job or why I didn't get that job. So one of the things I would like to see is better hiring practices. That's number one. A lot of times there can be some biases in hiring. And so if we can do a better job of making sure people get hired, that's the best way to handle it. Now, and I'll use running for office. Actually, it's the most fairest process that you have. The voters decide who they want, in office. It is absolutely phenomenal because they get to choose. And so if businesses could use this type of practice of lessening the biases that they have, that would certainly go a long way. And the other thing that we could do, I would like to see more people begin to really look at each other, talk with each other, not look down, not look away, just being more open to each other. I think that would definitely be a good thing, as well. This is going to take time. Our eyes are open now. We're not going to go backwards. It just is going to be, a minute by minute process. And by doing that, we begin to alleviate all the things that have been going on.
Well, I think it's very well said. And Phyllis, we really appreciate you sharing your insight and your anecdotal stories about your own experiences in the Quad Cities. And we appreciate you representing the Quad Cities.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.